Hey, hello everyone, welcome back to Paranormal Time. Today's video is all about the paranormal. Whether you are a believer or skeptic, there is no denying that the idea of ghost spirits and other supernatural entities has captivated people for centuries. In this video, we'll be searching some of the most compelling evidence for paranormal activity and sharing some of the most popular theories what lies beyond the realm of understanding. So turn off the light, grab a blanket, and get ready to explore the mysterious and often terrifying world of the paranormal time. Let's get started. Today I'm going to tell facts of death story. First an apology if you see any mistakes. I don't know how to start this. I'm still in shock, like they say. It's best to start from the beginning. I'm a salesman. I sell fax machine. Talk about a dying industry, but it pays surprisingly well. I travel the country with Jim. He's not my boss, but my senior. I do the tech demo. Hardly modern technology and not very taxing, and he does the commercials. We live quite far away from each other, but as our meetings are usually London way, I pick him up and drive the remainder of the journey together. But yesterday we were late. I hated being late. There is nothing worse than a bad first impression. Presentation comes first, always wear a suit and clean shoes. Darren said, you can tell a lot about a person by how clean their shoe were. Second is punctuality. I told Darren to phone ahead. Tell them we are going to be a little late. He said we would be fine. He knew the area and it was only going to be a couple of minutes. We sat in traffic behind a three-way stoplight put there for a roadworks. When the cars finally moved, I was initially relieved. Before seeing the roads was closed in the opposite direction, I made a mental note to worry about that later. Car park was empty except for a single beat up Lime-Green Beetle rust crawling over it as if it were a disease. When we got out the car, I had to stop myself for swearing. I hadn't put on my tie. I would usually park up and do that before arriving. Presentation was the key. It's fine. I know the clients will go back, Darren said, smiling. I didn't like that. I felt naked, but I could see an older woman staring out the window of the reception area. It was too late now. I have been spotted. I opened the boot, flung my laptop over my shoulder and heaved out the fax machine. I followed Darren in. He held open the door, then signed us in. He would only recently come back to work from a serious heart attack, and today was the first day he would not complain and ask to carry. He knew better than that. Now she was still staring out of the window. The old woman wearing a black dress and those glasses on a chain like a Ibrahim would wear. My husband won't be long. Won't you take a seat? She said before turning and gingerly skipping into the office behind the desk. I put the fax machine on the floor. I never sat when waiting for a meeting. It puts you in an interior position. You want to meet the client on the level. You okay? I said to Darren, whose hand shook as he put a small plastic cup under the water cooler and poured himself a drink. Fine, he said, drawing the glass. New medication. I saw a bead of sweat roll down his forehead and disappear under his collar. His black tie was pulled taut around his neck, making his skin fold over. I wanted to tell him it was probably bad for his circulation, but he never listened to me. Come on, an old man said as he poked his head out the doorframe. I locked the fax machine in and placed it next to chair on the opposite side of the table. Darren introduced us. Steve, here was a great demo lined up for you. Now not only is the new model quicker than the last, it uses 50% less toner. I don't want to know about that, the old man said. I'm dead and this is my wife Elsa. We want to know about you. We are thinking about changing suppliers and the guys we saw yesterday were pretty convincing. Okay, I said, suddenly feeling off balance. I had my routine, my pattern, I had it honed. I wasn't used to leaving a sales gig. What do you want to know? I said, leaning back, reaching for my tie and realizing it wasn't there. We don't wear ties here. You're fine, Ted said, smiling at me. How old are you? I'm 32, sir. Been doing this job for 10 years. Darren and I have been working together for 5 years. Darren nodded and I noticed his face was no longer sweating. If anything, mine was. Do you like each other? Yeah, he's been a great friend to me. He is going to be my best man. In a couple of months, I have told him to arrange anything strenuous for the stag do. Ted looked over at Darren. I had great attack recently. Steve was the one who gave me CPR, saved my life. How wonderful. I mean, it's nice you can be there for each other. Are you a religious man? Steve, Ilsa asked. Oh, well, I don't practice, but I believe there is a God probably. I mean, yeah, I believe in God. That's good. You are very spiritual here. Ilsa grabbed it and squeezed. The conversation went for another 10 minutes, where they continued to ask questions about my past and my family. Then one thing Ilsa said took me off guard. Have you ever killed a man? No, God, no. How do you know? I think I would remember that, I said, reaching my die again. The damn thing had put me right off my game. Maybe not directly, but have you thought about an interaction you may have had? Like letting a chair out of a junction only for the car to involve in a crash later. It's almost certain that you have caused the death of someone, just be interacting with them. I didn't know what to say. I looked towards Darren for an answer. She shrugged his shoulders, his eyes wide, and shook his head. Oh, never thought about it, honest man. Ilsa whispered in Ted here for a moment. We will use you. Sorry to be so abrupt. But we have somewhere to be, Ted said, holding out his hand to shake mine. When we shook, I didn't say anything. I felt his tight grip, and the sweat from my hand transferred to his. I will write up the paperwork and get it over to you in the morning, Darren said as he stood up, almost in a gauge. I picked up the fax machine. Darren held the door outward and I placed it to the boot along with my laptop. What the heck was that? I said to Darren as I reversed out the parking space. A sale, he said. They loved you. I knew they would. I am very glad we do this together. But I didn't show them anything. You didn't have to say you sold yourself. That's half the job. Come on. You must have realized that before. From within, Ted and Ilsa stared out of the window, their gazes vacant but fixed on me. As we got to the junction, I saw the sign saying, "Road closed." Damn it. I forgot about that. Give me a minute, I said, reaching for the GPS. It's okay, Darren. I know way back, turn left. Darren's sense of direction was terrible, but I was intrigued. We followed the road, going in the opposite direction to where we came from. Turn here, he said, pointing. The graveyards, I said, reading to the sign that said cemetery. It says we can't. Trust me, he said, so I did. I slowed the crawl, not wanting to disturb the dead, and flipped under the graves that lined both sides of the road. We were in the old section. All the stones were either broken or landed heavily or both. We followed the road as it bore to the right. Even now and then I saw a fresh bunch of flowers lie silently on the old gravesites. I wondered if the groundskeeper put them there or a distant relative. I felt for the people who lay there forgotten. Maybe they didn't have family anymore, or maybe they don't care. It was then I knew I wanted to be cremated. As we drove further into the cemetery, I noticed a road that led out of the far side through a metal gate stood in the way. How about we open that? I said. So for like today, we hope you enjoyed this video and that it has left you to some new insights and perspective on this intriguing topic. As always, thank you for watching and we will see you on the next one. Until then, stay healthy, stay tuned. See you on the next episode. Good night.